Hello, and welcome to the Real Ram Fam. On my channel, I intend to provide you with a safe platform to discuss the intersections of your entire being, to be able to be comfortable in your own skin, in mission or position. There is no one like you, and we all have a purpose and message. I, for one, am a black woman, mother of four, a military veteran, and a wife, and a social worker, just to name a few. From my channel, I hope that you learn more about military families and social workers. Three of the social work values are my aim in each video: importance of human relationships, dignity and worth of the person, and social justice. No matter what you initially think when you hear social worker, there is more to the profession. Trust me. Stay locked in by subscribing to the channel, and be sure that you hit that notifications bell so you don't miss any new uploads. Without further ado, on to today's episode. So what is up? What's up? What's up? What is going on, everybody? Today, I'm going to talk to y'all about mental health. It's going to be a little bit slower today. I got my little Twix in my hand, and it's going to be a little different. So, what's going on in the Black community and what is going on with mental health, right? There's been lots of conversations happening lately. There's lots of different opinions and positions. There's athletes coming out and speaking about it. There's superstars coming out. But most importantly, do we all even understand how important mental health is? Do we even understand what mental health is? So that's what I'm coming to talk to y'all about today. So first, I'm going to share my screen because, like I said, I'm coming at y'all a little bit differently today. Try to speak a little slower, a little clearer, but yet try not to be boring. So I'm going to need y'all to participate once y'all actually join in. Okay, my battery about to die over here. Once y'all actually join in, I need y'all to participate. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to share this screen with you and share some statistics. Over here, Black and African communities and mental health. So y'all can see everything. Y'all see my whole screen, everything I'm looking at. I feel like doing a split screen just because I don't want to do full screen. So 13 to 14% of the U.S. population identifies as Black or African American, and 16% of those reported having a mental illness last year. And this Mental Health America, this is from 2021. Okay, so this is approximately 7 million people. That's more than the people in Chicago, Houston, and Philadelphia combined. That's a lot of people. I want to jump down. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you was that graphic right here. So with all of that, now I'm going to, oh Lord, stop screen. So this information right here, what even is mental health? The WHO, the WHO, World Health Organization, defines mental health as a state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her abilities, they can cope with normal stresses of life, and they can work productively and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. So when we talk about the well-being of a person, your physical, your mental, your spiritual, all of that, you have to be able to contribute to society, be able to live, work, all of that. Can you do that effectively every day? If not, your mental health may be affected. Mental health conditions they occur at the same rate or less frequently than white Americans. However, Blacks or African Americans our experience is characterized by trauma and violence more often, and is impacting our emotional and mental health. Well, some may say, well, what the heck is trauma? Trauma. The American Psychiatric Association defines this as an emotional response to terrible events like accidents, rape, or natural disasters. The immediately after the event, shock and denial are typical. Longer term reactions may include unpredictable emotions, flashbacks, strained relationships, and even physical symptoms like headaches and nausea. So you may not even understand what a trauma is, right? So how often have you been in a car accident? How often has there been natural disasters, right? Those of you in the South, you have experienced, hurricanes. Those of us in the Midwest have experienced tornadoes, witnessing tornadoes on the news. I've never been in a tornado all my Midwest years, but I know that they exist. You may have known people who have been in tornadoes, car accidents, okay? How many in the Black community have experienced rape, sexual assault, and things like that? Even the loss of a child. Those are traumas. And I'm not even talking, killings of your child, but whether you had an abortion, whether you had a miscarriage, anything like that, those are traumas. And how you respond to that. Do you get help? Do you try to tuck it away? Are you in shock and denial? So just imagine an immediate response to this can be denial. So next, for us, we have had a historical dehumanization, oppression, and violence against us individually and collectively. So just imagine how a society of people have been in denial about your trauma, about our trauma. How many times have people told us that something did not happen, or tell us that something is not that bad, or that something is no longer happening? People are denying us a trauma, a response to our trauma. And when you hold that stuff in, a longer term response can be that now you're starting to experience headaches, nausea, things like this. And you may think that that's just normal. You may just say, I'm having a headache, and you don't know why. Your stomach is hurting and you don't know why. You're having diarrhea and you don't know why. It's trauma. It can be trauma, right? These are also the same signs and symptoms from gluten, from dairy, things like this. And you may think that that's just normal. Well, no, if you're eating a bowl of cereal or you're eating a grilled cheese sandwich and you start to continuously experience diarrhea and stuff like that, you're probably allergic to gluten and maybe even dairy. So as things continue to happen in your life and you are unable to function, your mental health may be something that you have to take a look at, right? So the screening in this particular survey here from Mental Health America, it showed that Blacks and African Americans who reported positively for depression, they self-identified as planning to seek help at higher rates than the general population say that they will seek help. But unfortunately, Black and American providers are small in number. Overall, Black and African American men are particularly concerned about stigma. There's less than 2% of the APA members are Black and African Americans. So we continue to worry about cultural competency of our caretakers. And also, those with mild depression or anxiety believe that they would be viewed as crazy. So by not having people who look like us, we want to go get help, but we don't. Because why? As my shirt, well, you can't even see my shirt. Black therapists matter. We need more of us in the field. So people in our community also tend to seek assistance from the church, or they want to go seek help from the church. But this is also a place where stigma is continuing to be, it's continued to be stigmatized in the church. So when they want to go get professional help, there's not enough of us in the services. So we got to change that. All right. Now, overall, in the demographics in this here survey that they found, over 24% of Blacks and Americans have a bachelor's degree or higher as of 2017. More than 1 in 5 live, and this is Black and African American households, 1 in 5 lived in poverty as of 2018. And women are the heads of the households in roughly 30% of the homes, compared to 9% in white homes. So with all that being said, well, why is education important? Why do you need something higher than a bachelor's degree? Well, then you will tend to better understand the importance of your mental health. When you have a higher education, you're more likely to go out and go seek the help that you need. Also, that leads to earning more money, does it not? When you have a higher education. When you're living in poverty, that ties into your education, does it not? It does. And so when women are the head of the household, 30% of the homes versus 9% for white people. One of the things that I got another new client, and he was telling me, one of the things he tries to keep a soft-spoken voice because his aunt used to yell at him all the time, and he knows that yelling doesn't work. Well, that's what we do, right? We do a lot of yelling. But in the grand scheme of things, in the bigger community of things, he's gonna be looked at as a scary Black dude, right? He's gonna be looked at as the angry Black man, right? So on top of the trauma that he has of his aunt continuously yelling at him, he also has the current trauma and dehumanization of Black men who are angry, who are loud, who are scary. You have all these things on top of you, which makes it kind of hard for you to be yourself. If you're upset, why can't you express that you're upset? Now, I'm not saying that we should all go around yelling, but I'm saying that you should not have to suppress yourself and choose to always try to speak in a soft voice. No, some of you men, you have deep voices, and your voices are going to carry. Our facial structures are stronger. So no matter what, it's going to come across scary, right? All right. Now, adult Blacks and African Americans are more likely to have feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and worthlessness than adult whites. That ties into what I was just saying a little bit earlier. When we are continuously comparing ourselves to white people and white levels of success, you're gonna kind of feel hopeless and worthless because you may not ever make it to their levels. You're not gonna succeed. And if over here the woman is the head of the household, how can you feel like a man, right? And then on the woman's side of things, if you're comparing your house to the next door house, or you're comparing it to the way that your parents raised, or you don't want it to be the way that your parents raised their household, you're gonna have feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness, right? Leading back again to the lower levels of education. There's only so much money you can make to raise your family out of poverty. Blacks and African Americans are less likely than white people to die from suicide at all ages. However, teenagers are more likely to attempt suicide. And give me just one moment. So also a conversation was recently taking place about suicides and self-harm. Um, it's happening all around us. So our teenagers are more likely to attempt suicide. I mean, are y'all hearing me? Our teenagers are more likely to attempt suicide. Binge drinking, smoking, that's marijuana and cigarettes, illicit drugs, and prescription pain reliever misuse are more frequent among the Black and African American adults with mental illnesses. And so what I wanted to do was to go back in here and explain to you, well, you may be like, well, what the heck is a mental illness? A mental illness are health conditions involving changes in your emotional thinking or behavior, or a combination of these things. They're associated with the stress and or the problems functioning in social work and or family activities. So whereas I said the mental health is the ability to do these things, the ability to handle the stress, the ability to handle all the stress, all the things that are happening in your life, social work and family. A mental illness is when there is a change in you because you cannot handle that. You've now developed a mental illness. And nearly 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience some form of mental illness. 1 in 24, which is 4.1%, have a serious mental illness, and 1 in 12 have a diagnosable substance use disorder. So when you put those two together, a mental illness and a substance use disorder, how do you think a person is going to be able to handle the daily livings, the daily life? Put on top of that, the traumas that Black people have. How can you handle, a normal stressor in your life would be having kids, right? So let's just take me, right? A mother with 4 children. Having 4 children, that's stressful already. Take on top of that military life, right? Take on top of that husband being in and out of the house because of military life, right? I don't have this trauma, but let's just put this on another person who has also had maybe multiple miscarriages, right? So you never got over that miscarriage. So you have these miscarriages that you never got over. You're trying to raise these 4 children by yourself because your spouse is in and out of the home. When you have a headache, or let's say what's something that happens to a mom all the time. Well, what happens to me a lot is stubbing my toe. I'm constantly stubbing my toe. So I'm stubbing my toe, but also, okay, now I'm also sick. I have a migraine, right? So I go to the hospital and the doctor is trying to tell me that it's just normal to have a migraine. Oh, let's just make it a monthly. Let's just go ahead and just say that. On your period and you have a migraine, you go and the doctor's like, oh, it's just normal. Some women, you just have a migraine, you just have to deal with it and just shoo you off. And I'm like, no, I have a really bad migraine. Half of my face, I can't see, my eyes hurt, and they're trying to tell you how bad it is for you. And it's also because you're Black, and you know this because they're not paying attention to you. They're not talking to you. They're not trying to hear you out. Now let's add on top of this, You are depressed. You have been diagnosed as depressed. Also, you smoke marijuana, you overly consume alcohol, and the money is tight. There's multiple problems going on here. What do we do? So you try to talk to a friend and they're like, oh, that's just, you chose the military life. That's just something you just got to deal with. Or you just so soft. You need to just deal with it and just turn off the lights and whatever. Go get a babysitter to help you with the kids. I mean, it's not that simple. It really isn't. So that's kind of what it's like to live with mental illness and deal with it by yourself. And maybe you do have professional help, but they don't understand you because one, they're not Black, and two, in the scenario that I gave you, they don't understand military culture. You're talking to your family and your family are like, I raised you all by myself. I didn't need any help. You just need to do this, blah, blah, blah. You just need to tell the kids this, A, B, and C. Or sometimes you lose a baby. It just happens. How do you deal with this? Or you're just crazy and you're just weak and whatever. You just need to just whoop them kids or something like. No, that's kind of hard to deal with because you have decided within your own self that that's not how you're going to raise your kids. So you fall into a depression because you don't want to do what other people are telling you to do. You want to raise your kids your way. That's hard to do. And yet still be okay with being Black. And yet still seeing on the TV that this mother lost her child to violence, or the cops killed this woman's child, and yet she can't get to the bottom of and the truth of it all. And then you find out that this other person was in the store just minding their own business. And then, as we call them, Karens, was tracking them down in the store or tracking somebody down in their own neighborhood. How can we do this? And we want to call each other crazy. Then on top of this, we got to throw in the LGBT community. So in this scenario, I'm still talking about the same one person, I know I said we're going to make it me. I did say that, but we still, let's make it my neighbor or whatever, a friend, a cousin. And we're going to throw in that they have a child who is gay or is trying to come out as gay. On top of all of the other things that's going on, but the child doesn't want to say anything because of all the other stuff that's going on. But even within their own selves, they have stuff going on that they have to deal with at school because people are calling them this and that. If you've listened to enough stories, they all tell you that they've had to deal with a parent or teachers and friends and everything calling them sissies and faggots and saying you ain't right and you're wrong and all of this, and yet still trying to maintain their grades and just trying to make it in school and still trying to play their sport or whatever it is that they're trying to do. And they can't talk to their parent because either their parent is contributing to their own personal stress or their parent has their own stress and they don't want to make it worse for their parent. So now we have a generational cycle because the child feels like there's nobody that they can talk to. So I'm gonna press forward. And we know teens are smoking and drinking, or maybe you don't know. But on top of that, this teen is smoking and drinking. Teens' brains, your brain is not fully developed until you're 27 years old. So we can say whatever we want. There are people who have these opinions that when it comes to your sexuality, you don't really know what you're doing. You're experimenting and all this and that. But the same goes with if you're experimenting with drugs. So if the teen is depressed, they're feeling suicidal, they're feeling whatever. On top of this, they're smoking and drinking because they can't talk to someone. This just compounds the problem. They're messing up their wiring in their brain. And no amount of seeing something on media is going to make it worse for them, that's not going to put anything else in their brain because they saw something on media. If your mental health is off and you have other issues that you are already dealing with, and I'm not saying that the LGBT part is an issue. I am saying that the way that people are treating you, the fact that you're trying to come out about it, on top of the stuff in the home and all this, putting drugs and alcohol on top of that just makes things worse. And it makes things worse because you're Black. It's just too many other things that we are dealing with as a community. So I'm gonna fast forward up to some stuff that I found. Celebrities. And I'm gonna post the link to all these websites that I used to prepare for today. So some celebrities that have come out to talk about mental health issues in their own lives. And I'm wondering, are you all listening to the things that they have had to say? Do you communicate with those around you? Start a conversation and understand. Have you started to do any research about these things? Because we can't continue to say that people are crazy, that they need to just get over it, that they're weak, that whatever, because it's the person right next to you, it's the person that you don't know, and it's even these celebrities that you look up to. So a few of Black celebrities, there's a 2019 Essence article, and in it, Lisa Nicole Carson, she mentioned that she has bipolar depression. Charlamagne the God, anxiety. Janet Jackson, depression and feelings of inadequacy. Jennifer Lewis, bipolar depression. And if you read her book, she also talks about the fact that she was a sex addict. Jada Pinkett Smith, that she was extremely suicidal. And Big Sean struggled with anxiety and depression. There's a few others in that article. That was just to name a few for you. Now, some of Black athletes. Some Black athletes, we know Naomi Osaka from tennis, Raven Saunders from track and field, Simone Biles recently from gymnastics, Brandon Marshall from football, The Rock from wrestling and movie stars. Let's call him by his name, Dwayne Johnson, right? And Channing Frye from basketball, just to name a few. So it's multiple sports, it's multiple levels of celebrity. It's, like I said, the everyday person. Mental health is something real serious, and we need more Black people in the profession for cultural reasons, because our Black people, they want to seek help, but there's so much stigma. And when you walk into a room and the person sitting across from you doesn't look like you, it's kind of hard to open up. It's the same thing. You have heard these conversations simply about your medical doctor. And it's even more so when it comes to mental health. How are you going to talk to somebody across the room from you about your uncle touched you, or the neighbor touched you, and that you told your parent, but they didn't believe you, and the fact that your parent was in prison while you was a child and you had to be the second adult in the home, helping raise, between 2 and 4, 6 siblings sometimes, and there was no family there to help you. And so what you did was you started selling drugs, like all these cultural things. And then in the neighborhood, it was so violent. So you stopped going to school just so you could be there to kind of like protect the house. Like so many things that are happening in our community that we know. And then as you become an adult, you're like, no one ever taught me how to be a parent. Nobody taught me about the proper way to save money. Nobody ever taught me, the better way to communicate with others. I'm tired of fighting. What else? I'm trying to think of some things that clients have said to me. they're just sad. And the main thing with my male clients is trying to excel in the city in which they're from and not be looked at as trying to be better than everyone else, thinking they're better than their family, not falling backwards. And they're trying to make an improvement, but when you go back to your area, right, because they're trying to leave the area from where they came, but when you go back, falling into trouble. You don't want to do that. It isn't necessarily all about the drugs. It's just simply trying to do better. And then those who are homeless, they just want to get a home. They are struggling with trying to be a father, trying to be a leader in the community, but they don't have a home. So what do you do? The whole thing on when Black men are raised on is to be strong, to be the head of the household, to be tough, to be bringing in the money. But if he doesn't have a home, how do you tell him that it's okay to get up every day and put in that work? Because as long as you're doing the best that you can, you're going to be all right. And the man don't have a home. Or the man has a home, but he doesn't have a job. Or the woman, she doesn't have a home and she's trying her best and she's just trying to get her kids back. Or she's living in her car with her kids. And also, they may have a mental health diagnosis, and they don't have money for their medication, or they don't have the medication at all. So there was another statistic on there about the diagnosis that Black people and white people receive, and Black people don't get the medication. So you all have seen the videos, you've seen the stories of the police were called to a home because someone was having a mental health breakdown. How many times has it gone wrong and the person has clearly said, no, they have a mental health disorder, they have schizophrenia, they have, whatever, like they are in a full-blown episode and they end up getting shot when they're Black versus when they are white. Black people aren't offered medication at the rates that white people are offered, medication and therapy. So that is causing a problem as well, which is also causing yet another trauma, because we don't want to call the cops. We don't want to call in for help. And we know that our person needs help. When someone is having an episode, and sometimes it's just trying to overlook it. And that shouldn't be the way that we handle things. So that's what I wanted to say. Too bad nobody joined me on this, because it was really, really important. Like I said, there's lots of celebrities that's coming out talking about this. I mean, even when I looked at it, Simone Biles decided not to compete any further because she wasn't pleased with herself, with her own performance. And someone may look at that and say it was stupid, it was weak, it was, whatever, you can try again. But for herself, she felt that wasn't her best performance. And we don't know what she's dealing with. So she wanted to focus and get herself back on the equilibrium, back to her homeostasis. So it was very important. So with all of that, I hope that you guys drop me some comments and questions. If there's something that you need clarity, or if there's more that you want to know about, let me know. More videos are coming in the future. I'm going to talk about a Brene Brown series that I was listening to. And so please be sure that you like, share, stay tuned for more videos, and subscribe to my channel because mental health does matter, even in the Black community. It's extremely important for us. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I would like to thank my guests for joining me, or simply thank you for watching the pre recorded episode. No matter what your birth order is, how you self identify, and whether you like pancakes or waffles. If this is the first time you're hearing it today, I want you to know that you are loved. You were put here for a purpose that only you can fulfill. Until next time, take care of yourself. Be sure that you like and share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notifications bell. This is Real Ram out.